What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Sorry I haven't been posting in a while. This video will be about ranking different rides at Kentucky Kingdom. There's also a water slide that I got to go on, and this water slide is actually one of the tallest in the world. I forget the name, but it's really tall. If you search up water slides in Kentucky Kingdom, I guarantee you that that's going to be the very first one to pop up, so you guys can see that for yourselves. But other than that, let's get into the ranking. At number 4, we have Hock and Row. So Hock and Row is a Vekoma family coaster, and this is actually not a great family coaster, but this is also not a bad family coaster. It's mediocre, but there's one thing about this ride that I don't really like, and that being the location. But before we get into the location, let's get into the layout of the park. So to get from one side of the park to the other side of the park, you have to cross a bridge. And of course, as you guessed it, there's a road under this bridge. And directly next to the road, that's where Hock and Row is. So in my opinion, that kind of takes away from the whole theming and aspect of the ride, and it kind of just makes the experience kind of less exciting. But like I said, it's a mediocre family ride. It's not that bad, and it's probably better than most family rides I've ever been on, considering I don't really go on that much. But now, let's go on to number 3. At number 3, we have Woodland Run. So Woodland Run is a coaster built by Din Corporation, and throughout their history, Din Corporation has built 12 total rides, which 5 are still standing, and Woodland Run is one of them. So despite all the hate on this ride, I think it's a pretty solid ride. This is because of a few reasons. So first off, the track work. Woodland Run got track work done recently, and now I think it's absolutely elite. The first drop is amazing, and that compared with like the smoothness of this ride is amazing. But the drop, I was not expecting this drop because I was sitting in the back row and I thought this drop was gonna be kind of mediocre. I didn't realize it to be that intense. After you go up the left hill, there's a turn on it. You turn, and then you drop. I thought we would drop at the point where after you complete the faux turn. The drop started as we were still turning, so it was really whippy back there. So once you go down the crevice of that drop, that's where you get pure ejector. I mean, this is obviously the highlight moment of the ride for me. So this is probably the most unexpected drop of my life. Oh no, the most unexpected drop of my life was probably on Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure at Universal's Islands of Adventure. That drop track, I guess you could count that as a drop, but let's just ignore that. We're focusing on Woodland Run. But yeah, it also feels a lot smoother. It kind of feels like Mystic Timbers. Like you go up a hill and then you turn, go down. It's kind of like, it really reminded me of Mystic Timbers when I was on that ride. And I like Mystic Timbers. That's my number 2 at Kings Island. But yeah, there's not very much other to say about this ride. It's a good ride. If you have the chance to go around the Kentucky Kingdom, you should definitely ride these rides. But you should ride the rides that I'm about to say in my top 2. And in my number 2 spot, which was actually my favorite before I gave it to number 1, but at my number 2 spot is Lightning Run. Lightning Run is a Chance Rides Hyper GTX. I don't even know where to begin about this ride. I guess we can get to the airtime first. There is so many ejector pops on this ride that I was like, I couldn't even think what to say after this ride. I mean, I was really blown away is what you could say. There's so many ejector pops on this ride. It's just, whoa, you think it's over, but then boom, another one, then boom, 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 another one. It's absolutely crazy. And then that first drop, pure ejector. I mean, you absolutely get whipped over that first drop. And then the final airtime pops at the end, that's where it gives the most ejector. And then the lift hill, you don't even have time to think. It just feels like 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and then the drop, and then the layout. There's not really much other things to say about this ride other than how amazing it is. But now let's get on to my number 1 coaster at Kentucky Kingdom. Oh yeah. And before I go into my number 1 coaster at Kentucky Kingdom, I just want to say how highly underrated this park is. I mean, for a park that only has a few rides in their coaster lineup and then absolutely massive water park, this park is just absolutely amazing. I mean, the top 2 rides in this park really pack a punch. They're probably one of the best top 2 rides in this whole country. But I also have a hot take, and this hot take is probably going to be one of the biggest things I've ever said in the coaster community. And I think that this small park that, like I said, only has a few rides in the coaster lineup in Kentucky, in Louisville, in the middle of the city, is better not than Cedar Point, but Kings Island. Yes, you heard me right. Kings Island! And there's two reasons I have this above Kings Island. And the first reason is because Kings Island has not gotten the standout ride yet. And they've had this problem for years, and possibly more years to come. And until they have a standout ride, Kentucky Kingdom is placed higher than Kings Island. And the second reason is because the top two coasters in the park are absolutely just mind-blowing, which would be Lightning Run and my number one, which I'll get to in a bit. But yeah, those two rides really pack a punch for me, and they're absolutely amazing. Let's stop talking and get into my number one coaster at Kentucky Kingdom. My number one coaster at Kentucky Kingdom is Wind Chaser. This ride is absolutely amazing! Sorry about that. Yes, this ride is absolutely amazing. First off, the drop. I didn't expect to get that much pull out of that drop. I didn't expect to get that much hang time off a drop. And that was my first time in my life I've ever experienced a twisted drop like that. And also, another thing I want to say is once you go up the left hill, you get a view of the whole downtown Louisville, and it's absolutely an amazing view. It's probably one of the best views I've ever got off the ride. Another thing is the airtime. The airtime is just, I mean, even like a littlest hill like that, you just get flung out of your seat. Like, flung. Pure ejector, steel vengeance level of airtime. And this is a pretty tiny RMC. And I didn't really expect this ride to be elite, but it is elite. The airtime, this is an airtime machine. This is tiny, but it really packs a punch. It's kind of like Maverick at Cedar Point. It's only 100 feet tall, but it's one of the most intense rides in the US. And so is Wind Chaser. And I also want to talk about the Trick Track Double Up. The Trick Track Double Up is genuinely dangerous. I mean, it feels dangerous. It kind of is dangerous. If that lap bar wasn't there, if nothing wasn't there, I mean, you would just be to the moon at that point. It feels that intense. Even though the ride kind of has a short duration to it, it still is the best ride at Kentucky Kingdom. I mean, it really feels intense. Yeah, that's my number one coaster at the park. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.